Last episode, we talked about Bitcoin dust, tiny spendable pieces that can become expensive or awkward to move. That leads to the question underneath the whole thing. Why do Bitcoin fees get expensive at all? The beginner mistake is thinking a Bitcoin fee works like a credit card fee. Move $10, pay a small percentage. Move $10,000, pay a bigger percentage. That is not the Bitcoin model. In Bitcoin, the fee is not mainly about the dollar amount you send. The fee is about block space. Your transaction is data. Inputs are data. Outputs are data. Signatures are data. And every block can only carry so much transaction data. So when you pay a Bitcoin transaction fee, you are bidding for space in a scarce settlement system. That is the whole episode. Fees are not a punishment. They are not a tax from Bitcoin headquarters. There is no headquarters. Fees are the market price of getting transaction data confirmed. Start with the block. Bitcoin batches transactions into blocks. Miners build candidate blocks. Nodes enforce the rules. And because each block has limited capacity, not every waiting transaction can fit at the same time when demand is high. That waiting area is usually called the mempool, the set of valid unconfirmed transactions a node knows about. Different nodes can have different mempool views, so do not imagine one perfect global waiting room. But for a beginner, the mempool idea is useful. There are transactions waiting, block space is limited, and users attach fees to compete for confirmation. Now the important part, miners do not care that your transaction moves $100 or $100,000. They care about the reward available for the block. And for transactions, the relevant comparison is usually fee rate. How much fee is paid for the weight or size of the transaction? This is why two payments with the same dollar amount can have different fees. One transaction might spend one clean UTXO and make two outputs. Another might spend 20 tiny UTXOs and make change. Same payment amount, different transaction shape, different amount of data, different fee pressure. This connects directly to the last few episodes. UTXOs are the pieces. Coin selection chooses the pieces. Coin control lets advanced users influence the pieces. Consolidation changes the shape of the pieces. Dust is what happens when tiny pieces become economically annoying. Fees are the price of moving those pieces through limited block space. Once you see that chain, the whole wallet starts making more sense. Your wallet balance is the friendly number. The fee market sees the transaction. It sees inputs. It sees outputs. It sees weight. It sees urgency. It sees competition. This is why Bitcoin fees are high is not a complete sentence. High compared with what? High for a coffee payment? High for moving life savings? High for a transaction with too many inputs? High because blocks are full right now? High because the wallet overestimated? High because the user chose speed over patience? Fees are contextual. That does not make them fake. It makes them a market. And markets can be uncomfortable. When block space is quiet, users may attach lower fees and still confirm. When block space is crowded, users who want faster confirmation may have to outbid other users. If they do not, the transaction may sit longer. It may remain unconfirmed. It may eventually need to be repriced if the wallet and transaction type support that, or the user may simply wait. The key is that Bitcoin does not promise equal urgency at equal price. It offers final settlement under rules. The fee market decides how expensive it is to get into a block during a given moment. That sounds harsh until you compare it to the alternative. In the fiat system, settlement priority is often hidden behind banks, processors, clearing systems, account tiers, permissioning, and policy. You may not see the auction, but that does not mean the cost disappears. It gets embedded somewhere else. In account fees, merchant fees, chargeback systems, float, inflation, counterparty risk, or access restrictions. Bitcoin makes the cost visible, sometimes painfully visible. The fee shows up on the screen before you send. That visibility can feel worse than a hidden fee, but it is also more honest. You can see the cost of settlement, you can wait, you can choose a different timing, you can use a different layer if appropriate, you can manage your UTXO shape over time, but none of that should be turned into a recipe from a YouTube video. This episode is not here to tell you what fee rate to use. It is not here to tell you when to consolidate. It is not here to tell you which wallet to trust. It is here to fix the mental model. Bitcoin fees are not a percentage toll on value. They are a bid for scarce block space. That means a tiny transaction can be expensive if it uses a lot of data during a crowded moment. and a very large value transaction can be cheap relative to the amount moved if it is simple and timed well. That is strange only if you keep thinking in account system terms. Bitcoin is not an account balance moving inside a company database. It is a public settlement system where coins are consumed as inputs and created as outputs. The transaction has physical shape in data terms, and shape matters. This is also why cheap fees are not always a sign that everything is perfect. Low fees can mean block space demand is low. It can mean users are waiting patiently. It can mean activity moved elsewhere. It can mean wallets are estimating efficiently. It can mean nothing dramatic. High fees are also not automatically a crisis. They can mean demand for settlement is high. They can mean users are competing for limited space. They can mean a new wave of activity is crowding the mempool. They can also expose bad wallet habits. Too many tiny UTXOs, poor labels, or no plan for how coins are shaped. Again, the receipt is context. The fee tells you something. It does not tell you everything. For beginners, there are 3 practical takeaways. First, same amount sent does not mean same fee. The transaction shape matters. Second, urgency has a price. If you need confirmation sooner during a crowded period, you are competing with everyone else who also wants space. Third, wallet hygiene matters before fees are high. UTXO shape, labels, and patience are easier to think about before the mempool is crowded. That still does not mean panic. It means literacy. You should understand why the number on the send screen changes. You should understand why a withdrawal habit can affect future spending. You should understand why one simple-looking payment may cost more than another. Here's the clean example. Imagine 2 people each want to send $500 worth of Bitcoin. One wallet has one spendable piece large enough to fund the payment. The other wallet has 12 small pieces and needs to combine them. To a human, both payments look like $500. To the fee market, they are not the same object. The second transaction carries more input data. More data means more block space. More block space means a different fee calculation. That is the moment the account balance illusion breaks. The headline number in the wallet is not the full story. The structure underneath the number matters. And you should understand why Bitcoin can have fixed supply and variable fees at the same time. Those are not contradictions. The supply rule is monetary. The fee market is block space allocation. 21 million is the cap. Fees are the price of getting transaction data into blocks. One is the rule of issuance. The other is the market for settlement priority. That distinction matters because critics often flatten everything. They say, if fees rise, Bitcoin failed. That is too simple. A scarce block space market is part of the design, but defenders can also get sloppy. They say fees do not matter. That is also too simple. Fees matter because real users need to move coins, manage wallets, and make trade-offs. The honest answer is stronger. Bitcoin makes settlement scarce, auditable, and rule-based. That scarcity creates a fee market. The fee market can be annoying, it can be expensive, it can force better planning, but it is not a bug just because it has a price. The deeper question is what kind of monetary system you want. One system hides costs behind institutions and expands supply by discretion. Another system fixes the monetary rule and makes settlement space scarce. Bitcoin does not remove every cost. It moves the cost into the open. That is why the fee screen matters. It is not just a nuisance. It is a receipt. It shows that block space is real. It shows that urgency has a price. It shows that wallet shape matters. And it shows why self-custody is not only about owning keys. It is about understanding the system you are using. Next episode, we stay with the fee market and talk about repricing. Replaced by fee, why some transactions can be bumped, why some cannot, and why an unconfirmed transaction is not the same as a broken transaction. The wallet shows the send button. The network prices the space. That is Bitcoin fees in plain English. Educational only. Not financial, tax, legal, security, privacy, or estate planning advice.